Boy, here we go. Hello, good morning, YouTube subscribers. I'm getting more subscribers, so I like that. I appreciate the people that are subscribing to me. I appreciate, I do appreciate that. I am walking down the street early in the morning. It's morning time. I've got some things to do today, but I want you all to know that I do appreciate you. The interactions, you commenting and talking to me, and then, like I had a pretty good, it was a few people busting questions, but it seems like I get more likes and followers when I walk than I do when I sit. Because I have a computer where I can actually read your comments, because like I said, the glasses I have are real tiny. So, anyhow. Oh, they're going fishing. How nice. But yeah, it's early in the morning. I think it's like 9 o'clock in the morning. How cool is this, huh? How cool is this? Here we are, walking down, and I do have top pants, and I thank you, top pants, for listening and checking in. I want to show you guys my quiet spot, my spot where I go to chill. I want to show that to you guys because I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite spots. Here's that poor girl, man. That girl is beat up. And this guy coming with his damn food truck, which is kind of cool too. Don Chepe, that's what he calls himself. Here he comes. That was my dream. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to beat him out and all of them out. And why? Because when you have a better product, people just love it. But anyway, here's the old tracks. They're actually thinking of doing those tracks and cleaning up 6th Avenue or 6th Street, whatever it's called. They're actually thinking of doing that. And it makes sense because it's a throughway all the way to the there, But yeah, so here I am early in the morning. Well, not really early. I always get up around 6:30. I always I get up around 6:30, and I get up. Oh, hello, I'm back. Well, hello there, Xavier. Good morning, and for my area, it's good morning. How you doing today? Today, I'm walking to one of my favorite quiet spots. I'll show you where I kick back when it's really nice just to sit back and enjoy the sun and enjoy the wind and enjoy the reviews. And welcome back. I appreciate that very much. I wonder how I sound like on speakers. Oh, it's me from yesterday. I definitely remember. You're the one going to the museum. You're the one that was doing the homework. You're the one that was excited about early out today. I remember. That's the bad thing about me. Hi. Oh, that's the bad thing about me. I do have photographic memory, so I put it in my head. It stays forever. So I don't like to remember a lot of things, yeah. So I remember my phone number when I was a kid. The phone number we had when I was in grade school, and it was 383-3950. That was the here I'm on the tracks again. Look at that. Here's a tanker right here, but it's full of liquid petroleum gas. That's what that's full of. So anyway, here I am on the tracks once again. Oh, let's see. I'm still in school, but I have free time. Oh, nice. Well, thank you for spending your free time checking out my YouTube channel. I appreciate that very much. That's cool. When you got free time, I know free time. When I worked and you got your breaks, I enjoyed my breaks to the last second. You know what I mean? But anyway, what I'm finding out, there's no greater reward than working for yourself, and that's the truth. You know what I mean? There's no greater reward than that. Honestly, it kind of saddens me. Let's see. I can't wait. I know, right? You're going to that museum. You're going to that museum. Yeah, those things are interesting. Artifacts, old stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty neat. It really is. That's cool. So yeah, I'm walking along the tracks. This is kind of a dead area, I guess you'd say. There's a few people that live in this area, but mostly it's this car really interests me. I gotta show you guys this car. Let me show you this car real quick. These are back roads, I guess they call them. It's like industrial, but I gotta show you this car. I like this car. Not that I favor it above all cars, but it's a little different than most cars. It doesn't even have a front grille, but look at that. See that? Isn't that beautiful? It says Monza on it. Looks like a Corvair to me. I don't know if it's a Corvair or not, but it looks like a Corvair. But anyway, yeah, this is the quiet side of the city. Oh, and I feel bad for these people. Look at this. That's why I'm not big on living in apartments, because this looks like a building that was made into apartments. I know it's nice, right? It's really nice. Check this out, though. Look at this. So many sights to see. But this looks like it was a big house made into apartments. But then you see the other side. Looked like it got burnt down. See? Look at that. And you look at this side, really burnt up. Look at that. All burnt up. You can see the foundation right there as to how much they lost. But look at that. All burnt up. I felt bad for the people because nothing worse than having, nice things being settled, and then all of a sudden you're woken up by fire alarms or fire engines and your stuff's burning up and there's nothing you can do. And it's crazy. That's why I don't like living in apartment buildings, because you might not have even been the one who done it. So as a result of someone else who lives next to you, now you're homeless. Sad. But it is a nice structure. I think they're going to rebuild on it. Doesn't look like they tore it all down. So they just might rebuild on it. They might have had fire insurance. But anyway, so here we go. Walking down this dark path, or excuse me, off the beaten path. I guess that's what they call it. But yeah, this is the baseball diamonds right here. This is where the little leaguers come and play all their games. There's actually a newer one over by the highway, and it used to be an area where homeless people used to live. Okay, so this is the area I like to come to. If you notice these trees, it's really quiet here. I know I'm talking right now, but I'll be quiet for a second. You can hear the quietness. See how quiet it is? Do you hear the birds singing? I can. Even if I have headphones on, I can still hear the birds singing. But the trees just amaze me. They remind me of trees that I lived near in Tacoma, and I'd climb them. I'd climb them to the tip top. Some of the ones I climbed were way tall. I'm talking way, way tall. And I'd climb them to the top, and it was so quiet up there. You could hear the wind. But I felt safe up there. But anyway, here's where I come. I don't come here all the time because I just recently found this. But if you can see the bleachers, oh, let's see here. I'm gonna have to go in a middle bit, but I'll come back and just gotta get a little because my phone about to die. Okay, gotcha. That's fine though. I should still be streaming. Thanks for tuning in, Xavier. I appreciate it very much. I do. Anyway, going back to this now. Here's where you can see my shadow. Dun, 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 dun. Here, I'll give a thumbs up. But anyway, look at this. See, this is where I come to relax. There's no baseball going on, but it's kind of a chillaxing place. It's kind of a relaxed place that I come. Let's see what it says here. It is a nice spot. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Xavier. I appreciate that. It is. It really is. Quiet, serene. You know, collect my thoughts, what have you. I like it. Anyhow, I'm here, and I have. Let me do something. Let me do something a little different to make people interested. So I'm publishing this book. Okay, so what's funny is, I gotta share this with you. Okay, this is a good story if you like stories. Okay, so let's see here. So I bought one of these a while back. I purchased one of these a while back, and it broke on me. One of these, you know, the camera holders. So when you film, it'll hold steady. You don't have to have it in your hand all the time. And it extends, so it's kind of like one of those sticks too, selfie sticks, whatever you want to call it. But it broke. The part that holds your phone broke. This one was $13, and I thought, I paid $13 for this piece of junk, plastic junk, and it broke. Okay, so I gotta buy another one, but I don't want to buy another one. So I was using the other one, and it was real unsteady, and it would drop the phone, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I went to the library. And I sit down at the table, and right in front of me is this. It's just sitting there. And I'm like, okay, I wonder whose this is. So I sat there for at least 2 hours, and nobody claimed it. So I did. But it's a lot better one. And it's kind of neat because it looks like a gun. It's got a grip on it, right? This is what holds your phone, of course. And then it has feet or legs or whatever you want to call them. But watch how they come out. Watch this. This is a trip. But it separates like that. Look at that. See that? And it's a little tripod. Wow. Right? That's what I said. Holy cow. Right? Wow, that blew my mind. I was like, right on. I don't have to buy one now. Now I have one. Anyway, so that is my what you call it for the day. And so it also you can do this too. It's funny how I can do this stuff one-handed, but I can. I raised 5 children, so I know how to work with just one arm sometimes. Maybe not, I don't know. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so there it goes. It adjusts up. And then I can actually go and turn it to where it can hold the phone. So I'm going to reverse this real quick and put it on me. There we go. There I am. But there it is. There's the if you will, the tripod that holds the phone up. Isn't that cool? Ta-da! I love it. So I got this one too, and I'm going to keep it because I can switch out the part that kind of grabs the phone, and I can extend this to make it one of those selfie sticks. See, you know what I mean? I plan to get another phone today, so I can broadcast on different areas. Anyway, so here's what I'm gonna do. I was always known by people as the tech guy. I don't know why, but I always had laptops. I always had DVD players, mini DVD players. I always had camcorders. I always had stuff, and they used to trip on it. But I told you guys I'm actually publishing a book. I'm publishing a book. The title is, let's see here. Now my friend, what? Let's see here. Now my friend, let me borrow his charger. Well, there you go. Right on. You can't beat that. So watch. Tell me what you guys think. I got a laptop here. I could get on the internet with it through my phone, but I like the phone better. You know what I mean? But here we go. HP. I got an HP printer. I'm a fan of HP. Not promoting them, just saying that I like HP. But I'm going to read a poetry to you. I'm going to read a poem to you guys. Tell me what you think, please. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do that real quick. I'll show you guys a picture of Sophia, too. Okay, so I'm going to go here. Okay, so here it goes. Oops. Okay, so here it goes. Let's hope I can read it. Oh, come on. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so here goes the poem. I wrote this. It is mine. A friend of mine one time wrote a poem. What do you do with your free time? What do I do with my free time? There's such thing as free time? Well, I'm a professional artist also. So I paint, I draw, I sculpt. I do a lot of things like that. I'm also in the process of producing and shooting a movie too. So I wrote a screenplay. Keep an eye out. The title is Discovering Europe. That's the title of it. I shouldn't have to yell, right? I'm thinking the phones, but I got my mic right here. Okay, so let me see here. Let's see. I'm going to read this to you guys real quick. Okay, here we go. Be ready. Here we go. It's a poem. I was close to death, but aren't we all? One breath away from taking the fall. Of going to hell or coming back as a frog. This afterlife argument we twist and toss. No one knows, even though they claim. It's insane that with forever, everyone's mundane. We close our eyes at night, sleep real tight without a fight. All goes back and out of sight. Anything can happen while we dream. A fire, an earthquake can take our peace. Yet without fail, our slumber avails as we count dead sheep that leave no trail. Oh my goodness. Oh, my thing froze up. Oh, I'll do it like this then. Okay. A rope, a gun, a pill. Many have used these articles to take a spill and fall into the arms of the abyss. Never missed. We are all on the same list. We start out small, fragile, and weak. We end up the same way, as you can see. Time passes, so do we. From this curse, we cannot be freed. There are no warm tears, no hugs, no kisses, let's be clear. We lay still inside a box, carried out the door, and then tossed. 6 feet is our new home. To decay, fall apart, address unknown. Yet before the plunge, a song is sung of goodbye forever, because by death you have been stung. I have come close, so close I cannot say. One half step from the grave. Yet for all my denials and fiery trials, I face the dilemma of the last lonely mile. What stopped me from ending the beginning? Someone not seen a miracle, a happenstance, so it would seem. Took the rope and sized my neck, so I could do the one-step dance with death. Brushed it, gazed it, the thought, to take my life right then and there on the spot. Walked away for another day of misery, excuses, and excruciating pain. Finally, threw the rope away. I see how close I came to bathe forever in a cold, lonely grave. Stone on top, stone on the bottom, ground screaming, finally got him. So now I'll just sit and watch life go by. So as this is one chance I found not to die. Ta-da. You're the best guy I meet. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I got to go to the night back when I'm at home. Cool. I'll see you later. What do you guys think of that? Cool? Nice? That's one of the poems. So the title is going to be Ended Beginnings. That's the title of my poetry book. I'm actually doing a special thing. Watch this. So what I'm doing is, I am, because there was people that ordered a year ago. So I'm doing a special one for them. But that's the title of it. If you can see it, I don't know if the sun will let you see it, but that's the title. And I'm writing it out right now. I'm gonna publish it. Okay, bye, Xavier. Thanks for joining, and I appreciate you. I'm doing that right now, and there's like 10 people. So I'm doing a special one for them because in September, the fall, I'll have it published. I'll have the hard copy, all that, and I'll send them one of those. But I want to tell them I appreciate them for ordering last year, and they were waiting so long. You know what I mean? Anyhow, um, let's see here. So I'll do one more. I'll do one more. Give me a second here. Let me see here. Okay. I'll do one more, okay? I'll do one more. Let's see. Okay, I'll do this one. Give me a second here. Oh yeah, this one's a good one. I spied my eye, trying to try. No lie, I tried to rely on the memory of you and I. When I saw you and sighed, your smile blew my mind. Your voice so tender mesmerized the loneliness I held for a time. I see you when I close my eyes. I hear you. I'm sorry, the light's messing with my perplexion. I hear you in the wind, in the songs, in the heartbeats that gives me life. Oh, how I long for you. Oh, how I cherish the moments you were near. When life was clear, I called you my dear. In my soul, no lingering fear. For you gave me a reason to live, a reason to give. You made the birds sing, my negative always positive. I see in your eyes what life could be, your closeness like a surrounding sea. How I ache to see you for a moment, to glance at your beauty and bask in your presence. Your name spoken made the world stand still, made my body sweat, and gave me lovesick chills. If time would stop, I would continue on, for a beauty so true, a life so new, made a man like me quiet as morning dew. Thank you for blessing me with your grace, for allowing the reason for eyesight to always behold your gorgeous face. There's another one. Anyway, so right now I'll show you guys if you didn't get the surroundings. I'll just show you the surroundings. This is where I come. It's bleachers, yeah, bleachers. This is a ballpark right here. This is actual a ballpark for Little League, the Little League people. But I like coming here, and I just happened to come across this by accident. I like it because it's peaceful. I like it because it's nice. It's quiet. Sun's right there. You can see the sun shining on me. You know, um, trees. You can tell that it's not too loud. All you hear is my voice. You know what I'm saying? Hardly any traffic comes this way, which is nice. Um, the park here is pretty cool. Okay, so what do you guys think of my poetry? Anyway, that's what I'm doing. That one was for Sophia. So if you're listening, Sophia, that one was for you. All right. So Xavier, cool dude. Thank you very much, guy. I appreciate your good words to me. I thank you very much. I gotta head out here. Not pretty soon right now, but I gotta I gotta go and take care of some business. Okay. Anyway, um, truly enjoying life. Life is a good thing. It's wonderful. You know, it's just amazing how it happens. It always blows my mind when I think about it. You know, my existence, my, if you will, beginning. I, uh, I, my mom is from North Dakota. My dad is from New Mexico. That's crazy. Yeah, my dad is from New Mexico. My mom is from North Dakota. And if you look at those two contrasts of states, one is really, really hot. One in the wintertime is really, really, really cold. So you got really, really hot, really, really cold. That could be a story right there. But anyway, um, my mom was raised on a Native American reservation. She is a full blooded Native. My grandmother, Mandan, my grandfather, Hidatsa. And the Mandan were the people that actually helped Lewis and Clark to survive, you know, for the expansion, for manifest destiny, or I like to say, for stealing land, putting it under that title. Anyway, um, um, the uh, the people, the Mandan, they were not roamers. They were not uh, how do you say that word when people travel? Like some tribes would travel where the hunt was. Some tribes would travel where the where the certain seasons were. To be warmer, they go this way, or nomads. There you go. So the Mandans were not nomads in any way, shape, or form. They actually stayed in one area. And I love the story about the Mandan, and I'm part Mandan. The Hidatsa as well. There's another story about them. But the Mandan uh, basically were entrepreneurs, minus the gold shiny coins, minus the green paper with the dead guy's face on it. They were entrepreneurs. And what they did was they would dry stuff to last the winters. So the Mandan, my people, would live in earth lodges, they called them. Earth lodges. And earth lodges, if you weren't close to them, you wouldn't even know people lived in there because they look like hills or mounds, you know. And families, there would be a lot of families that live in one earth lodge. And right in the middle, because the North Dakota winters are horrible. They are. I lived there, so I know. They would have a hole in the middle of the earth lodge where the fire would be. Okay. Then the way to get in, they actually had an area where you come in from the outside, but then there'd be another area where the skin they hung for the door, the buffalo hide. So when you come out, you come in here, and then of course so it would keep the cold out, which is very, you know. Anyway, but they would all live together. The Mandan would all live together, families. The earth lodges, some of them were so big, they could bring their horses in. That's how big the earth lodges were. Anyway, so my mom is Mandan from her mother's side, and my mother, my grandmother's maiden name was Mato, which is a Mandan word for bear. Okay, and then my grandfather, Hidatsa, he was Hidatsa, and he was basically uh, Bear's Tail. That was his name, Charles Bear's Tail. My name is Charles. I got my name from him. My dad loved that man, so he gave me his name. And so that's where I got my name from, was my grandfather. You know, I gave my son my name, which is my grandfather's name, in honor of my grandfather. And I knew my grandfather. I was really, really small when I met him, but I remember my grandfather, or my grandpa. And so here, um, He was Hadadza, she's Mandan. Okay. And so my mother being from North Dakota, my father being from New Mexico, you know. So my dad, as a kid, ended up in Worland, Wyoming. In Worland, Wyoming. I heard it's a big place now, but back then, because he was born in 1926. My dad actually was born in 19. He's gone now. He's been gone for a while, but he moved. They moved to Wyoming, and then my grandmother ended up leaving on my dad's side. Ended up leaving his dad, and they moved here to Washington in the Wapato area. So my dad kind of grew up in the Wapato area. I think he was 11, and he knew how to drive a car. He could drive the car, and it's so funny. What he told me was you had the gas pedal, but then you had a reverse pedal. So if you hit the reverse pedal, the car would back up. You know, it was different. Model A or a Model T, I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, he moved. They moved here. He drove. He drove from Worland, and he told me he wanted to get away from his dad because his dad always made him work. Always made him work. Always. He had him doing something. He said he didn't like that. So he was glad to get away from him. Anyway, they ended up here. Grew up here in the valley from 11 years old up. Then he joined the army, World War II. He joined the army, and it was so crazy because he joined the army, and my mom was over in North Dakota, and they did actually the idea was to get the Indians off the reservation, to not let them, because they knew, and that's what's crazy. They knew that we loved the land. We had respect for the land because we knew that the land is what gave us our life. You see, and we know that the land, we need the land more than the land needs us. We know that. We know that to be true. You know. Anyway, so they wanted to displace them and make them to where they weren't tied to that anymore. Because if they didn't have the love for the land, they wouldn't. It would be easy to steal from them. Okay. Anyway, so my my grandmother, my grandmother, my grandmother. Oh no, my mother. They put her in a program to learn about I have to look important because people are driving by, and I don't want them to come and say, "Are you homeless sitting there?" So I gotta put a laptop in my lap so they think I'm doing something important, which I am for me. But you know, there they left. Okay, so anyway, my 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 mother got relocated from North Dakota to Los Angeles to go to school to be a secretary. Okay, so she went there. She decided, they did that. She didn't do that. They did that. Again, to displace them. So she went to school down in California, and she's a country person. Okay, this is how much country she was, or not used to the big city. They had a dirt floor. Their house had a dirt floor, but it was so dirt that they could sweep it. It was crazy. So anyway, she ended up down there, didn't know anything about the city, ended up losing her schooling. So she's roaming around the streets there. And my dad ended up there in LA because when he was here and the war was over, he had a buddy whose mother actually moved to California, Los Angeles, and opened a bar. So the guy told my dad, he said, "Hey, let's go down there. My mom owns a bar. Maybe she'll give us a job. I don't know, but it's better than, nothing here." Because none of them wanted to do field work. Who does, right? Who does? Anyway, so he ended up going down there with him, and that's where he met my mom. So think about that. Think about my existence right now. My mom had to be relocated to Los Angeles. My dad had to have that friend in order for him to go to Los Angeles, and then they meet up. Now think about that, okay? Because if they didn't meet up, I wouldn't be here right now. Okay, so that's why I am amazed by life. That's why I am just, it's amazing to me. It's not a chance. It's not a, like the, now this is what blows my mind. I'm gonna give you now some of you might disagree, and that's fine. You have that right. You have that right to disagree. You have that right to be mad or whatever you want. Whatever you want. As a human, you have that right. Okay, here's the way I look at it. Okay, so I do know the Bible is true. That's me. I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying anybody should, but I do. Okay. Now here's the thing. One guy asked me one time. He said, "Okay, tell me now. Any one of you can attest to this. It doesn't matter who you are. You can attest to this, and you can't argue it. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter to me who you are. You will never, ever, ever be able to argue this. Watch." So he asked me. He says, "You say you're born again." I said, "Well, yeah. The Bible tells me, or not tells me, but I read it in there where it says I'm born again." He said, "Well, I want to know what happened to you." That's what he told me. He asked me. He said, "I want to know what happened to you. I want to know what you saw. I want to know what you felt. I want to, watch this." I said, "Well, you're born, right? You know you're born, all of you out there." I said, "You know you're born." I asked him this. I said, "Do you remember when the sperm entered the cell?" And he looked at me. He said, "Well, no." I said, "Oh, do you remember the cells multiplying?" He said, "No." I said, "Oh, huh. Do you remember forming in the womb?" He said, "No." "Huh. Do you remember any moment or any time when you were in the womb?" He said, "No." "Oh, wait a minute now. That's a lot of no's." I said, "You're standing in front of me right now. You're here, but you're telling me a lot of no's that has to do with you." I said, "Well, let me ask this then. Do you remember coming out of the womb?" He said, "No." I said, "Do you remember your first 4 months on earth?" He said, "No." I said, "Okay, if you can't remember something that happened to you physically, if you have no idea about something that happened to you physically, how do you expect me to remember what happened to me spiritually?" But it did happen. I said, "Because you're standing in front of me, and spiritually inside, I'm standing in front of you." You get it now? See, none of you can argue that. Not one of you can argue that. Okay? Again, you have the right to believe what you want. Now, let me share this disclaimer with you. I'm not here to get you to believe in God. I'm not here to get you to read the Bible. I'm not here to get you to pray. I'm not here to get you to live a better life. I'm just sharing. Like the sun there. See the sun? He just shows up. You want to bask in the heat? By all means. You want to go under the shade and not? It's up to you. Okay? So no one could argue that point. And here's what I learned for me. Everybody on this earth comes to this earth in the same manner. You come from the womb. You do not come any other way. There is only, if I can say it like this, one way to this side of life. You can't argue that either. I always tell people too, now if you came another way, you better write a book so I can read it. But you didn't. You came through the womb. We can call it that, the way. The way to this side of life is through the womb. Period. Okay. Now I know folks will be out there going, well, what if they make? Well, at this moment in time, they haven't. Well, they might. Fine, whatever. Until then, this is the way it is. Solid. Okay. So here's what blows me. Everybody on earth cannot stately say, I remember when the sperm entered the cell. I remember the cells multiplying. I remember forming in the womb. Nobody can say that. Watch this. So if anyone on earth cannot tell me the beginning of them, how can they tell me the beginning of earth? Think about that. And we take man's word for it. I'll tell you. One time I was on a train. I was a sad situation. I was coming from North Dakota. I was on a train, and I was on my way to bury my niece. My sister asked me to officiate the funeral to bury my niece, and I said yeah. And I was on my way on the train. Oh, there it is. I was just hearing a helicopter, so I was looking for it. Anyway, you probably can hear it too. These microphones are pretty good. Anyway, my niece died at the age of 21. Saddened me big time. Still saddens me. I had talked to her 2 days before, and I told her, I said, "Hey, mija," I used to call her mija. I said, "Mija, you should come here and go to school. You know, there's a college here. That way you could do." And I said, "You can stay with me for free. You know, you could." And I offered that to her. That's what blows my mind about people. They have an opportunity, but then they want to charge you to get you an opportunity. I didn't do that. I had a home. I said, "You can stay with me for free. I don't care. Just go to school and do something for yourself." Well, 2 days later, she was dead. She was turned 21, so she figured I owe myself a good party because now I'm 21. I can buy alcohol whenever I want. And her boyfriend were walking through the alley, and a drunk driver came out of a bar and squished her and killed her. That's how she died. So I was on my way to officiate the funeral. My sister asked me, and I said, "Yeah, I will." So I was on my way there, and on the train ride, there was two ladies sitting across from me, and I was doing my artwork. And they were like, "Oh, that's beautiful." I said, "Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I do that because I beadwork. I do beadwork." So the ladies, well, I pull out my Bible and I start reading it. And they're like, "Oh, you believe in the Bible?" I said, "Yeah, I read it. I read it." And they said, "Well, do you believe in evolution?" They asked me that question. I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, you know, evolution." I said, "Oh, well, can I ask you something?" "Oh, go ahead." I said, "Okay." I said, "Your information about evolution, where did you get it from?" They said, "A book." That's what they said, "a book." I said, "Oh, well, me too." They said, "No, but there's proof." This is what they said. "There's proof." I said, "There is?" They said, "Yes." I said, "Oh, were you there when they dug up this proof?" They said, "No." I said, "Were you there when they studied this proof?" They said, "No." I said, "That's a lot of no's." I said, "So what you're doing is you're reading a book, not being there, and you're taking by faith what they're saying is true." And they go, "Whoa, I didn't look at it that way." I said, "Yeah, exactly." You see? How much stuff do we take in account blindly without really, really, really investigating it, folks? Let me share something with you real quick. I'm going to share something with you, which blows my mind. Your body, your hands, your eyes, your ears, your legs, and there's two of them: 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 legs, is made up more for investigation than propagation. In other words, with the double of everything, you are made more to investigate something than talk about it. You know what I found? Because I've read the entire Bible many times. I'm going to tell you one thing I found in there that floored me that no one tells you. There's more statements on for you to ask. Yeah, really. And not really asking for something, because that's what we like to turn it into. But basically, investigation. To ask, what does this mean? What is it? Honestly, my kids used to do that. My kids didn't why too much, and I'll tell you why. Because I shared with them a lot. So they got a lot of information from me. But I always told my kids, don't take my word for it. Check it out yourself. Go investigate it yourself. Go see what it is yourself. I'll share this story with you. I don't share too many stories about my family because I miss them, and it kind of hurts still. Well, kind of, it really hurts. But anyway, I'll share this. Uh, their mother was always worried about them getting born again. She was. Me, I guess I'm weird. I might be passive. I might be, But from what I read, the promises are yes, they will. And I told her, I said, well, they will. They'll get born again. Don't worry. And I think my daughter, my oldest, Jasmine. If you're watching, Jasmine, I do love you and I miss you. Anyway, I she asked me a question about the Bible. I said, well, go get your Bible. So she brought it, and I started just opening it to her. She got born again that day. That day, man, she really started reading her Bible. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, I ain't gonna kid around. I am an idiot. I'll tell you that all right now. I am an idiot. Okay, not too bright, not too, whatever. But one thing I do know, just like that sun right there, not hanging. It's in the middle of the universe, or whatever it's called, solar system, and the Earth is rotating around it. So the sun really doesn't rise. The sun really doesn't set. It's just the Earth that rotates, that makes it appear that way. You know. I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie about the black ladies that were mathematicians that actually helped, that actually got the guys in space, that literally got them in space and to come back down. Very amazing movie. Very, very, very good movie. Okay. But the trajectory, or the rotation, it's really fast. It's really, we don't see it that way because we're on it, and it doesn't look like it because it looks like the sun moves pretty darn slow. But it's pretty fast, you know. So as that sun is there, I know. And I'll tell you something. It don't matter who you are, what you believe. If you believe there's a God, or if you don't believe there's a God, we still share the same sun that sits in the sky, which floors me, you know. And I'll tell you something. I have more respect for people who say they don't believe in God more than the people that say they do. And I'll tell you why right now. The people that say they believe in God don't show it. The people that say they don't believe in God, they show it. Can't get any more honest than that. I always tell people, I said, I can respect somebody who has a knife in their hand and looks me in the eye and says, I hate you. Then a person who says they love me, and as they hug me, they got a knife in their hand to stab me in the back. Think about it. Real hate for me is better than fake love. Oh, let me see. Let me try this now. See, somebody said something. I'm back. Sorry, I took too long. No, you're good, bro. You're good. No, it's all right, Xavier. You're good, man. It ain't long at all, bro. It ain't long at all. It's nice. Here, let me give you a sight of the surroundings. Look at this. I'll go around and let you see what I see. See that? They're working over there. But yeah, this is what I see. Looks like they're getting ready for the new year. Here's the dugout. I guess that's what they call it. But this is what I see. See that? This is what I see. Nice, huh? Look at it. There's the sun. Yay, the sun's out. Anyway. No, I'm glad you're back. Thanks for coming back. But anyway, yeah, so this is really interesting. I'm liking this. I'm enjoying it, you know. And again, Xavier, thank you. Hey, um, tomorrow I hope you have a great time with the museum visiting. You know what I mean? I hope you have a great time doing that. I like museums. I like the old relics, I guess you'd say, or old stuff from a long. And I like learning. I really love to learn. I'm always interested in learning new things. I really am. You know, my dad shared a story about that a long time ago. So my dad, this was way back when. I'm talking last century. That's crazy, right? Last century. But my dad, he he didn't have too much of of a background, you know, in work wise. Okay. But I guess I'm like him in that respect because I never drove a forklift before. When I learned to drive a forklift, I never ever drove a forklift before. I never did. And I was at this job, poly something. It had to do with plastic. It had to do with plastic. And they would make big pieces of plastic and ship it to companies, blah blah blah. I mean, I'm talking humongous pieces, you know, sheets of plastic, just you name it, different colors. They made it all there. Poly, trying to remember the name, Ultra Poly. It was called Ultra Poly. So they're having me build. Let's see here. Oh, okay. It is a good. Oh, but yeah. I uh, I worked at this job, and they had me building. You know what those dang it, pallets, the wooden pallets. You know what those are. They had me building those, so I'm building them, and I'm going quick. Boom, 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 boom. I'm busting them out. And there was a certain height they had to be when you got done. And I'd get them done 2 hours. It took other people 8 hours to, well, because most people like to milk the clock. They do. I'm not kidding. And that's fine. People want to milk the clock, go ahead. I can't. I'm not a clock milker. I bust. So the guy says, well, we don't have anything for you to do, and there's 6 hours left. Can you drive a forklift? I said, sure. Again, I didn't know how to drive a forklift. But I figured if somebody can do it, it can be done. So I got in there and I looked at the pedals and I looked at the foot pedals and I looked at the handles to raise it and lower it. And I just sat there and okay, that does that. Okay, good, I'm good. So I start driving a forklift without ever driving a forklift. So I'm going and I'm moving stuff. And I learned just by getting in there and doing it. So my dad was the same way, or I'm the same way that he was. So here's what he did. He had just gotten off the war, World War II. He had just gotten, so he's with a lady and they're having their first child, the first one of us, because there's many of us. He had a lot of kids, but the first one of us, little guy, and he got to work at this place where they did steel, metal, aluminum, you name it, they did it. And they molded it into, pieces like manhole covers, light covers on cars. Back in the old days, old days for some of you, they would make chrome for the headlights, because the headlights used to be round, and they would make a chrome for them around them to make them look nice. And my dad used to do that. Well, he got a job at it. So he was sweeping up the broken metal that didn't get put in. So they put it back in the fire and it melt down and they use it again. So that's what he did. He had a wheelbarrow and he would take stuff and put it in there. Let's see what it is now. Yeah, right. That's what I say too. Yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Anyway, I always tell people the greatest adventure you could ever take is getting to know someone. That's like a world away, really. And it's funny. That's a different story. Hold on, let me get back to this. So my dad is picking up all this metal. He put him in a wheelbarrow, then he take it to the scrap, and then they put it back in them. Anyway, so one day he sees on the job they call them casting machine operators. So basically, it's a machine that has a mold, and you close it, the metal would pour in, it will harden. Of course, the machine would open, they take it out, and they'd make molds over and over and over, different parts. So my dad looked and he saw there was an opening for one. Now, he'd never done it before. He'd never done this before. But he applied for it. And he lied. He lied. He literally told me he lied. He went into for the interview and they said, well, how much experience do you have? And he told them 20 years. He didn't. He didn't have 20 years. But he figured he knew how to do it. So he got on the machine, and each one had their own area to be, And so this was in Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio. So he was there, and he was doing that. Now, there was this old guy. That's why I'm telling you, I always want to learn. I don't care if a turtle walked up to me and says, hey, you want to learn something? Sure. Show me how to walk slow. Anyway, he was doing the job, and this old guy, really, he said it was a really, really old guy, really, really old guy. And the old guy was talking to another guy that was on the machine, and he asked him if he wanted to learn. And the other guy said, oh, what are you going to tell me? You're an old dude. You don't know nothing. The guy just moved on. Then he came to my dad. He said, show me what you got. Show me what you got. So the guy showed him little techniques that no one else knew. Little techniques, And my dad learned from him. So now my dad's putting out all the castings quick. So they had a quota that you had to do. There was a quota, meaning there was a certain amount every hour that you had to put out. And he was putting out more than everybody. So they raised the quota because of my dad. They raised the quota. Well, since he can do this, so now my dad's an expert. Man, he's going to town. So that's when I learned that you always can learn. There's always, the ability to grow, the ability to take in, the ability to experience. And I learned this from one of my kids. Pretty neat story, right? I learned this from one of my kids. This goes along with what I just shared, but let me share this with you. So in North Dakota, where I lived before, it's desolate. I'm talking, it's desolate. The town I lived in didn't even have a stoplight. Think about that. A town without a stoplight. Little tiny town. The next town that had anything was 50 miles away. So you literally had to plan the whole day to go to the bigger city to make it back. That's literally what you had to do. So we would make a day of it. We would plan to go, and I never let my kids eat McDonald's ever when they were little. I never let them eat McDonald's, period. But they had the play place. So I would go there with their mom, and we would get coffee, and we would let the kids play in the play place. Let them play in there, and and her and I would Bible study together. Anyway, watch this. On our way, on that 50 miles, there was a lot of fields, a lot of wheat fields, canola fields. I mean, you name it, there was just, because North Dakota is flat, so there's a lot of land. And as we're driving, every single time we would pass the same cows. Literally, we would pass the exact same cows. And every time my daughter would get excited, the kids, in general, they would get excited about seeing the exact same cows. Every single day, every time we went by those cows, oh, look, Daddy, cows. One time she said this, which floored me. She was a little. She's probably 5. Here's what she said. Hey, Dad, Mom. We said, what? Cows are made of meat. Yeah, right on. Right on. Anyway, so that's when I learned. I thought, it's amazing. Because there was a song called Live Like You Were Dying. That didn't make sense to me. Because if you knew you were going to die the next day, in order to experience, you'd have to push a lot of things and, if you will, be in a hurry because you're going to die, which means you really wouldn't experience it. Watch this. But if I look through the eyes of a child, meaning that no, I'm not going to die. No, no, I'm alive. Every experience would be as if it was brand new, as if it was my first time doing it. That's when I learned that. I went, oh, so I can be a little kid if I want to. I can be someone who looks at the sun and goes, yes, even though it's the same sun. Now that's what's crazy to me. Even though that's the exact same sun that rose and set all my life, the same sun, it's not different. It's like a new day. Why is it a new day with the same sun and the same earth? Think about that. You see what I'm saying? This is how we humans enjoy things. You see what I'm saying? This is how we as people, So that's why I try myself to look through the eyes of a child so that every experience is new to me. Like even if I've done it before and somebody comes along and never experienced it, I'll look through their eyes. That way they can enjoy it even more. Even though sometimes it's hard because, it's like listening to a song you like over and over again. Before you know it, you're not going to like that song much anymore. You see what I mean? Okay. So, here, I'm going to get a drink of water here. So, I'm almost done. I got to go take care of some business. I'm good right now. But watch this. I'm going to share this with you. This one's pretty neat. So, I don't know why, but they asked me to teach a relationship class. I said, sure, I'll teach a relationship class. Yeah, teach the Well, they gave me a book. I can't stand books. I really, really can't. Now, bear with me, please. I like to read. Bear with me. But when I see a book on how to do something and there's a price tag on it, I know the person and why. I know why the person wrote that book so they can make that. And that's not going to help anybody. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Let me see here. What's it say? Was it fun? Heck yeah. It's always fun. It's always fun, man. Watch this, though. So I didn't use the book. I didn't use the book at all. I did not use the book. Here's what I told people. When I told them it was a relationship class, I said, I'm not here to teach you how to hook up. I'm not here to teach you how to get with somebody. I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach you to like you. Because if you don't like you, you ain't going to like anyone else. Think about that. Anyway, so I asked the class, I said, okay. And I showed them water. Real simple thing. Water. I said, what could you add to this to make it quench your thirst any quicker? I said, what could you add to this? What could you add to this to make it quench your thirst any quicker? Guy raised his hand. He said, you can add Kool-Aid. I said, really? He said, yes. I said, you really believe that? You really believe that if I took Kool-Aid and put it in this water, it would make your thirst quench quicker? He said, oh, no. You got to add sugar, too. I said, okay, let me get this straight. I feel like an infomercial right now. I said, you're telling me that if I took Kool-Aid and sugar and added it to this water, that it would make your thirst quench quicker? Then he thought about it. He said, oh, no. It can do it on its own. I said, there you go. See? It seems like when things are left alone, they do a better job. It's when we add stuff to it, that's when it gets messed up. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And that's simplicity. See what I mean? Real simple. Real easy. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it may seem boring, Oh, that's boring old water. Well, don't drink it for a couple of days. Man, that'll be the best thing you ever had in your life, you know? And it's crazy because from what I understand, our bodies are made up of 90% water. That's why when people get cremated, they're just a little pile of dust. Crazy, right? So if our bodies is 90% water, wouldn't it be a good idea to keep it there? Right? I think so anyway. Anyway, so a lot that's what I learned. I learned the simplicity, the simplistic things that we value, that we don't really look at, that's given to us freely. You know, I'll share this and then I'll be done. Watch this. So, in that group, in that class setting, I told all of them. I told all of them. Because one guy made a statement. He said, "You don't know the rules of life." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, you don't." I said, "Well, what is it?" He said, "Well, here's the rule of life. He who has the most toys at the end of life wins." And I asked him, I said, "What do you win?" I asked him, I said, "What do you win?" He didn't have an answer. I said, "Okay, I'm glad you made that statement, sir." I said, "All of you right now, every one of you," and there was about 17 people in that class, male and female both. I said, "I'm going to make every one of you right now richer than Bill Gates." Now, they were shocked. What? I said that, and some of you listening. I said, "I'm going to make you richer, more rich than Bill Gates. More rich than any rich person you can think of. I'm going to make you richer than them right now." Now, they were stumped. Well, let me see. Let me see here. Let's see. What water is 90% of our body? Wouldn't that mean, like, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. From what I understand, this is what I'm told. But if you look at the scope of it, like if you boil a pot of water, okay, if you boil a pot of water, the steam comes off, which means the water is leaving, right? It's going up. Like that's the cycle. Water evaporates. So if you want to do it loosely, water or rain goes up too. Rain just doesn't come down. It goes up. Rain couldn't come down if it didn't first go up. And that's what evaporation is. So let me share this with you. So when you boil the pot, okay, eventually the water disappears and all you're left with is the pot. Okay. Well, when they burn people up, something leaves. Something leaves. Now, I don't mean water initially, but I'm talking about liquid. I'm talking about liquid. You see what I'm saying? So when they burn somebody up and they're only left with a pile of ash, you see what I'm saying? What left? You see what I'm saying? So if you took that ratio of whatever, I remember, because when my kids' grandpa died, we had to bury him, and she had him cremated. The mother, it was her father, so she had him cremated, and they gave us a box. And honestly, the box, it really wasn't that big. Now I didn't want to open it because I really don't want to see somebody's, I definitely don't want to see somebody's dead body, but I definitely don't want to see somebody's ashes either. So I never opened it. But I'm pretty sure it was, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't that big of a mound. So if you take that mound and let's say we put it here on the bench, and I'm standing next to it, well, it fails in comparison in size. So whatever left, you know what? I probably should look that up, but I've heard that the body is 90% liquid or water. You see what I'm saying? I said 80 at one time. Somebody said, no, it's 90. But that's why there's only a little pile of ash left. All I'm saying is this. If we are, let's say 60% water. Let's give it like that, right? Me, I'm probably 30% coffee. I don't mean to be funny. Very good question, though. I think I'll investigate this because I kind of just threw it out there. So I thank you for bringing that point across. I'm going to look it up and I'll be sure with facts next time. I mean, I kind of think we do because, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Sweat. Sweat comes out of us, what have you. Anyway, very good point, though. I appreciate that. I'll do it next time. I'll look it up. I'll look up the facts and I'll have the facts for you. See what I mean about learning something all the time? Now I'm going to go investigate it because I used to always blurt that out. Now I have the facts for it. It's kind of funny. Have any of you ever read the back of a shampoo bottle? There's a lot of big words on that shampoo bottle, right? A lot of words. But if you read those words over and over again, they're not going to get your hair clean. Now, if you're bald headed and you don't use shampoo, I apologize for using this kind of symbolism. I have a lot of hair and I use shampoo. But if you kept reading and it's big words and they sound interesting, it's not going to get your hair clean. When you add water to it and put it on your head, it's that simple. You see what I'm saying? Just add water. you know. And honestly, this really, and I'm not gonna throw this on the ground because that's littering. So I'm gonna put it in here when I find a garbage can. I'll uh, I'll throw it away. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna check that status out and see what's up with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna see what kind of because I know when they describe the body, it talks about zinc, it talks about iron, calcium, um, of course, fat tissue. It's wild. The body is something else. I'll tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. I I have a lot of hair. I don't know why someone would use shampoo if they have no hair. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. That's why I said that. If somebody didn't have hair, I have a lot of hair too. You can see it. I literally, well, I get what you're saying. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I don't think they use shampoo. I got a buddy who was balding. He was younger than me, but he was losing his hair. So he would just shave his head for the sake of not. Now I don't. I should have asked him. Maybe he just uses a bar of soap. I don't know. I should have asked him. Do you still use shampoo? Because yeah, it wouldn't make sense if you don't have hair in the first place. But I told him. I said, "Hey, your hair is wavy." And he looked at me. He said, "What do you mean wavy?" I said, "It's waving goodbye." That's an old Bob Hope joke. If you guys don't know who Bob Hope is, look him up sometime. He was a comedian way, way, way back in the day, you know. But anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna research that. I'm gonna check it out. You know, that's an interesting thing there. Very interesting. I got a few things I gotta do today. I thank you again, you guys. I appreciate all you subscribers. I got some more new ones. I thank you so much for that. Um, like I said, I'll show you guys some of my art next time too. When I do broadcast again, I'll probably be at home, so I'll be able to show you my artwork that I do. If you want to look it up, it's on Facebook. I do have a Facebook. It's under my name as here, Charles J. Garcia or Charles Garcia, one of those two. Um, I do drawings. I do beadwork. I do sculpting. Like I showed you, I do writing. You know, really excited about this movie I'm going to shoot. You know, pretty excited, pretty darn excited about it. Pretty happy about it too, because it's my own idea, it's my own concept. The title of the screenplay or the movie is going to be "Discovering Europe." That's the name of it. Here, let me see. Uh, oh, you're not allowed on Instagram. Oh, okay, I got you. That's all right. But I do have. I mean, and I do Instagram too, but not as much. But I do Facebook. I do Facebook. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you for liking my poem. I got a whole bunch of them. It's funny because I just get a thing and I just start writing. Boo 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 boo. You know, it's crazy how it happens. I just, you know, I like it. My kids' mom, she was an amazing. She actually got published. My kids' mom, her name is Catherine. She actually got published. She wrote a story called "Just About a Half Breed" because she's part white and part native. So my kids are Mexican, native, and white, and so they look more native though. But but uh, but she wrote a because her brothers used to make fun of her because she was only. They said she was more white. They call her a white girl to make her feel bad, and so she wrote a piece called "Just About a Half Breed," and it was published. So she has been published. But her and I clicked that way because we both wrote. So, and this other girl I know, Sophia, she writes as well, which is artistic people. I don't know if we'd like just meet up or whatever, you know. Anyway. So the writings that we had, and she actually, like I said, she has a good background in it in writing. However, let's see here. Oh yeah, and so here, um, she used to get mad at me because I write songs too. So I've wrote about 35 songs. I haven't published any of those yet, but I will. I'm learning the guitar. I'll show you that too. I'm learning the guitar. You might come across some of my videos. I actually put videos of me learning the guitar. My dad was a guitarist, so I'm picking that up. Anyway, going back to this. So she used to get mad at me because without effort, I would just write. I would just get it out. Here you go. And she'd be like, "How'd you do that in 5 seconds?" I'll be like, "I don't know. It just comes out of me. I'm sorry." You know what I'm saying? So her and I were actually supposed to publish a book together, and it was going to be entitled 2020, like 2020 Vision. We were supposed to publish it in the at the turn of the century or 2020 when it was 2020, not 2025 or 20, but 2020, and it was going to be 10 short stories and 10 poems from me, 10 short stories and 10 poems from her. And she's a good writer. She always, but you know what I found? Everybody who is an artist or who is creative or anybody really, they always knock themselves. They always tend to be their worst critic. You know what I mean? Honestly, they do tend to be their worst critic. I know a friend who plays guitar and plays drums. That's pretty good. Percussion and strings. That's pretty good. I do play drums too. I'm learning the guitar. Don't get me wrong. I can play a few songs, but I'm learning. I'm growing. You know, but I do play percussion instruments as well. You know, and that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I like percussion. I do, and I like the strings because my dad. Oh my God, my dad could play. My dad played so well that when you would hear him play, it was like two guitars were playing. That's how good he played. I remember my aunt had a tape of him, which is really crazy because I was probably 5 years old. But I remember that day. I remember that day we were at a lady's house by the name of Lupita, and he was playing, and my aunt was singing because my aunt had a beautiful voice. My aunt could really, really sing. And so he was playing, and and I remember because I'd always be by my dad. That's one thing about me. I was always by my dad. And he, she played that tape, and I was like, oh my God, I remember that day. I remember that day. I told her, I said, and she's gone now. She's gone now. So this is crazy. I'll share this with you guys. So on my mom's side, out of 8 kids, there's only one uncle left. On my dad's side, out of 8 kids, there's only two uncles left. That's funny. My mom had 8 on her side. My dad had 8 on his side. But there's only 2 left on my dad's side. And only one left on my mom's side. And then that's over. Honestly, that immediate stuff. gone. So I always told my kids that. I said, when you turn around, all you're gonna see is me on my side. That's all you're gonna see, you know, which is crazy. Which is crazy because you would expect, you know. I mean, I'm talking about immediate. Like I've got brothers and sisters, you know, don't know them too well. That's a crazy story in itself. There, I used to play. What? Oh wow, really? Trombone. That's cool. My daughter played the sax. She played the saxophone. My other daughter played the keyboard. My other daughter played the wind instruments as well. And they played the guitar. Because they see their mom played the guitar really good. Their mom really played the guitar. I played the guitar. She played the guitar. And the kids, they seen us. And I would, like my dad, he'd get mad when I try to play his guitar, which made no sense to me. My kids, I'm like, go ahead, just don't hurt it. Go ahead and play all you want. And they would. They'd get down and they'd play, you know. They played the keyboard. They play. I said, go ahead, have, you know, be creative, have fun. I didn't understand why they would tell us not to do that. I didn't understand that. You know, if a kid wants to learn, go ahead. I'd rather have you with a guitar in your hand than a stick. I'd rather have you playing the piano than throwing rocks out a window. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. You know. But yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Trombone. Trombone is nice. I like that. Trombone. That's the one that does this, right? I think that's the one that has the. It does that. You know. Or is it the one that does this? Okay, there we go. There we go. I figured that. That's cool though. You gotta really have good lungs for that, and you know, really good. You know, good lungs, right? You have to have that. I know that. Yeah, I love music. I'm a music lover. This is how much I love music. I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna show you guys something. Watch this. This is how much I love music. Check this out. See that? That's old school, guys. That is old school. I am going to go today after I take care of this little business I got to do. I am going to go and buy me a cassette recorder. And I'm going to put my tapes in the cassette recorder and I'm going to jam the music. That's how old school I am. I actually have, watch this, 3 of them. You don't get no old schooler than that, guys. I used to be a DJ too, believe it or not. Before I started playing drums and trombone, I played football. Nice, nice. Football's good. My son played football too. He played football. That wild man. He did. He really played football. I used to go to his games. We used to go to his games. We'd go play, watch him play. Basketball too. He played basketball as well. And we watch him play. Yeah. All my kids got into that stuff, extracurricular stuff, running, all that stuff they did. Yeah. I like that. That's cool. Football. What did you play football? What position? I don't know what he played. Tight end or I can't remember what he played. I just go watch him play. I cheer him on. You know what I mean? I'd be the loud parent in the crowd. Yeah, he did it. They used to get mad at me because I'd be the loudest parent. You know, I'd cheer him on. You know. Quarterback. Oh, nice. Nice. Quarterback. That's a good one. You have good aim, good arm. That's nice. I like that. I always like quarterback. Quarterback is a good position to play. Unless you get sacked. If you got sacked, oh, that was a hard one. If you got sacked as quarterback, that was a hard one. That was a really hard one. Isn't this a nice spot though, you guys? Quiet, sun shining. I don't need a tan, but I'm getting a tan. You know, I like this area. you know. And I do thank you guys and all the new subscribers. I welcome you. All the new subscribers, I appreciate you very much. And but I gotta head out. So I gotta head out. I gotta go take care of this real quick. So I'm glad you guys listen. I'll live stream some more later. Like I said, I'll show you my art that I have. Okay. So I'll be on tomorrow. Cool. 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 I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good afternoon. Enjoy your day.